One of the best fidget toys ever created. Wah. Thanks for clicking on me, guys. This is a cotton candy sheep, some udders, and some cotton candy. This is Create This Book by Moriah Elizabeth, and I've been filling it out for the past 2 episodes. This is the second. And this is one of the first pages of her book. I've been putting it off because I wasn't sure what to do with it, but now I have an idea, and I'm just going to reuse this paint label. It feels nice. And I didn't really want to use regular paper for Posca pens because it tends to drag the tissue. Anyway, this box says just to fill it. It's an empty box. Fill it up. I wanted to use my logo, so I'm using that. And I'm kind of making it look like Mr. Sheep here, Mr. Cotton Candy Sheep. I saw his face in the circle-ish square in the middle, so I decided why not make him the Cotton Candy Sheep. So I'm doing that right now, filling him in with yellow Posca. I actually think it's a girl. I don't know why I keep saying him. Either way, them. But yeah, just filling in that first layer of yellow. Eventually going to do a second coat. And this went on so smoothly because of this material that I used. It was very nice. I do highly recommend writing on smoother surfaces when you're using Posca pens. Unless, you really just don't want to do multiple layers, which I get. I had to do 3, which is why I'm making hearts right now as I wait for the layer to dry. Fun stuff, I know, watching paint dry, but we're just gonna do it. It's okay. I even ended up making a cotton candy bowl for this sheep here, so he's not gonna be hungry. I mean, why would I create something and not give them food? Like, who does that? Probably me in the future, and I forget about it. But right now, we're going to make sure our mascot is fed. I'm giving her her pink little floofies now in her cotton candy wool. Now I'm outlining her, and I'm going to eventually cut her out. That's why the outline is so thick, which explains why I'm also cutting these out. And here they are. I don't know why I dropped them like that. They don't look the same on the back, but it's okay. I just flipped them over again, and now I'm going to try and place them to see what I want them to look like on the final product. Because you don't want to just be gluing stuff down willy-nilly. No, you want to make sure it's in the way you want it. See, I had to switch these hearts around. I would have glued them like that if I hadn't done that. But now they're glued, and I'm going to do a border, and the pages are done, okay? I really like how this page came out. I kind of used the white dots to make up for that Mod Podge that kind of damaged it from the previous pages. And I also put a heart around Moriah Elizabeth's name in rainbow, and I outlined. But yeah, now we're on to the next page. I already Mod Podged that, so I'll show you it later. But now we're on Create Embarrassment, and this is what you see in our thumbnail. So I'm just gonna... Yeah, that was a pretty cool little intro. So yeah, I took out this. Yeah, I created this. Go check out the video. It's right up there. Check it out. Okay, that's weird. Anyways, I wanted to use a different kind of paper for this, so I went to my sketchbook, traced out the book, got a reference of tomatoes, and I started tracing the lines. And I bet you're thinking, Olivia, what's so embarrassing about tomatoes? And I'll give you a little point of view here. So, you're in high school. You're in whatever grade, doesn't really matter. One of your electives is to garden, and you are gardening, and you're caring for tomatoes, and you're assigned to care for tomatoes with none other than your high school crush. Okay, he wasn't really my high school crush, but he was my crush at the time. Anyways, we're there. We're picking tomatoes, and we are collecting them. I am in squat position. Ohuhu Markers, so beautiful. So many. I have to cut the story right now. I'm just gonna start drawing with them. These are the colors I chose. Anyway, this is a blender brush. So squat position. I'm in squat position collecting these tomatoes. And he's also squatting, and he's kind of close to me, not right next to me, but he's like next to me on the bush, on the other side of the bush. And then all of a sudden, guess what happens? Guys, I'm putting this on YouTube right now. Guess what happens? I farted. I farted. Just kind of slipped out of me, oh, I'm gonna leave now. Bye-bye. How dare this fart leave me stranded to pay for the consequences of its doing? So I'm just stranded there, hoping he didn't hear me, but definitely he heard. So I think of a plan. And that plan is ridiculous. I'm like, oh my gosh! I get up, I kind of pretend, like I'm scared. And then all of a sudden I say, did you see that giant bee? He kind of just looks at me like, oh, no, I didn't. Wow. And I'm just like, yeah, he totally took the bait, definitely. Yeah, that bee was so loud, it sounded like a fart, that bee. This is starting to sound like a podcast. I'm gonna just flip forward to art again. No longer need to talk about that whole situation. I did feel embarrassed for the rest of the day. But now, I don't really care at all. So it's all good, guys. Just remember, some embarrassing things you do in high school, 5 or so years later, you won't really care. Maybe even sooner. Skipping ahead, this thing is basically more than halfway done. I've got the green tomatoes, I've got the red tomatoes. Now I'm just putting in some more background, so like leaves and filling those in, and then the major background and the color in the back where it's not really a picture, it's just the color. I'm just going to do that. And now some quick highlights and also cutting it out. Just got to get this into the spine first. Make sure it looks good. Now I have this bee, from the story that I made. I just really wanted a cartoon looking bee that was big. Now I'm just going to Mod Podge it. And this is honestly one of my favorite parts. Just Mod Podge. And I'm not going to put anything on the second page. I'm going to wait to do that for another embarrassing story. But for now, we have that page. And here we are on Create Creatures. I have these Posca pastels that I've used once before or twice. If you're wondering if they're more like pastels or like crayons, I would say definitely crayons. These were literally like crayons. You couldn't blend them or anything. They weren't wispy, they weren't like powdery pastels, they weren't like oil pastels. They literally just seemed like crayons, but like higher quality. It was really interesting to use them. I didn't use them for the rest of this page, but I did use them for this part. So yeah, I don't think they should have labeled them pastels. They definitely are Posca crayons. So if you're looking to buy pastels, don't buy these. If you're looking to buy crayons that are probably expensive, sure, go ahead and buy these. They're really nice. I created this. I put her in a picture frame. And that is because she is going to have a family. And she is going to be the mother. Moriah created this creature. And I'm going to show you her family, okay? And I wanted it to look like this was a wall. And these were all their family portraits. I mean, those transitions weren't horrible, okay? You can give me a compliment if you want. But yeah, they weren't horrible, but I do like them still. I am gonna stick with a similar color theme for the frames, like reddish, purplish, maybe orangish, just to keep in that warmer tone colors. Even though purple is like a cooler tone, it's still close to red. You need red to create purple. Anyways, here's our first guy. I named him Joe. Joe is adorable. I just kind of went off with anything that popped into my head, and that's how he was created. He honestly is one of my favorites. He's orange, so that's probably why. He's also the firstborn, so that's probably another reason. So Joe is actually a musician. Could you tell? Probably not. I didn't give him any instrument, but he really enjoys to play music, and he also likes to dance. I mean, what creature of mine does not like to dance? I feel like they all love to dance. But Joe loves to dance and loves to do music. He loves mainly, can you guess? I can't. Clarinet. I don't know. Somehow he makes it work with those 2 fingers on each hand. Somehow it works for him. On to his brother. This is going to be Steven. I didn't name him right away, but eventually Steven did land in my mind. And this is more like a casual senior photo, I guess. He's resting his hand on his head, and he's just laying back, relaxing, being cool and chill. He's just, he's the cool brother. And he is not a musician, unlike Joe. And he does not actually like to dance because all he can do is really just wiggle. Which is excellent for the worm, the dance, the worm. Anyways, he doesn't like to dance. He really just likes to relax and meditate. I feel like maybe he's a philosopher. He likes to ponder and be cool. He's the cool ponderer. Anyways, his name is Steven, and he is almost complete. I just gotta do some outlining, and he's really just gonna, he's just gonna show up, and you guys will be like, whoa. And here he is, all complete. He actually is not fully complete. I do need to draw his eye color, and that is green. I couldn't use colored pencil on Posca because I forgot to leave a space open for the colored pencil. So I had to use Posca, and it just wasn't working. But either way, he is done, and we're on to their, not sibling, but their house. This is the picture of their house. And this kind of reminds me of that children's show from long ago. Not too long ago, but from my childhood. I don't remember what it was called. I think it was like Wuggly Wiggly Roly Poly Oly. Isn't that what it is? I feel like that's what it is. But this house really reminds me of it. Even though it doesn't really look like it, I think it's just the weird shape and the fact that it's yellow. Also, you're welcome for always having a great view of my claw. My hand looks like a claw when I use it. I'm thinking I just need to reevaluate and try and use my hand in a better method that looks like this claw. I mean, look at it. I think I just grip it so weird. There's gonna be some adjustments. And here's the home sweet home right here. I love it so much for them. And we are finally on to the last child. And I flip it upside down because this is gonna be a girl upside down, just dangling, probably holding on to some monkey bars. And she is just gonna have the time of her life. She is clearly the youngest. She's free-spirited, just out there, just, wants to be goofy all the time and enjoy life. And I just gave her a couple squiggles and a couple colors, and I think you guessed it, this is gonna be a rainbow child. She is gonna be so cute. I feel like if Moriah Elizabeth was one of these characters, she would be this one for sure. No doubt in my mind. She'd probably be offended if I called her any others, and I struggle with the rainbow since I don't draw it often. And I put yellow after red. Yellow after red, are you kidding me? I even thought like Roy G. Biv. I was like, oh yeah, yellow starts with an O. No. But anyways, I fixed it. She is complete. The family is complete. The wall is complete. Her name is Abby, and the mother is Apple. On to the next prompt. Create straight lines. This is kind of interesting. I filmed this before watching Moriah Elizabeth's newest video, and she mentioned this in her video, this prompt exactly. And it's funny because I had just done this prompt. And yeah, I didn't like doing this prompt really, but I really just wanted to get it out of the way. Just, straight lines for sure. So I did that. I did straight lines, definitely, but I really wanted to add my own twist onto it, so I started doodling. And these doodles were in a thought bubble of a man, and this man created his own costume. So this basically, whatever I doodled, I combined into one thing, and it ended up a man creating his own costume from those doodles. Like, that was his thought process, and I just really loved that idea, and I was really happy that I came up with it. So I started coloring it in because it needed more color, I felt. And yeah, you could see the lines underneath it, but it was fine, honestly. You could still see the straight lines, which were the prompt, but you could also see this doodle that I don't even know what this creature is. It kind of looks part leaf plant, part bear, part kind of sleepy vampire. I'm not sure, but you know what? It's his creation, and I'm happy for him. Good for him. And this is where my mind was at after drawing so many lines. Alright, and here is everything I did in this episode. Please like if you liked the video. Please subscribe if you want to subscribe to my channel. thank you for watching this. It was cool to see what I could do, and I'll do it again, okay?